Hello, welcome to the session on depreciation schedule. Again, very good work we've been doing so far, and if you've been repeating all what we've covered up to this step, double thumbs up. So we started with creating the framework of the entire template, and we did the summary sheet, the table of contents, the model input sheet, the directors and staff costs, scenario schedule, scenarios, not scenario schedule, the revenue sheet or revenue schedule, the cost of sales schedule, the working capital schedule, which is what we did in the last video. And right now we're making good progress. We're on the depreciation schedule. So I'm going to update the date. Today is 1st of April. So I'm going to change this to that. I save and we begin. This is the depreciation schedule, and as usual I don't like repeating myself, so I go grab what I have already here that I need to reuse. So I'm going to paste that in here, and I tell Excel to auto fit to keep column source width. Keep source column width, so that way I get that already formatted approach I have done here, all this arrangement and this. Okay, so I begin to type in the entries here. So I'm going to want to get out the total depreciation, also the total amortization, and for that I need to extract out some important information, right? I need to extract out the depreciation by the different fixed asset category or non-current asset category. So once again, I'm going to create a separate window of this model. I'm going to move this one to the right, so Windows right, and I'm going to keep this on the left, and this that is on the left I need to grab. So for the depreciation, all of our inputs are going to come directly from the model input sheet. So I scroll down. You should remember that we have a section here on the capital expenditure across the different asset classes. So I'm going to grab this, inclusive of this. I paste here. This is the salvage value. So if you decide to have a policy of not depreciating everything completely to zero, but always having like a salvage value, this is where you plug that amount. Okay, so we are making progress. For the amortization, the amortization is going to be this patent rights and other intangibles. So I'm going to move it to a separate line. So in case you want to have more than or be broader in your breakdown, I'm going to call this the amortization. Right, maybe I take out one of these columns, so one of these one row space is good. Okay, I also want to bring in all of the capital expenditure as I have here. So I'm going to grab this line and paste here. Okay, and this is going to be in this too will be in NGN, Naira. This is also going to be in naira. Okay, and I want to compute the net book value. So net book value, net book value. I'm going to grab all these lines again and paste here. So the structure is coming together gradually. So the one aspect that I need to take verbatim from the input sheet is this capital expenditure line. So that is going to be easy. Just do equal to here, and let's go grab the, for 2016, that is column G. I pick, okay, so that's correct. I drag all the way down and I drag all the way to the right. I make comma style, so that is done. With this, I can expand this particular view. Let me save, then I can compute the depreciation schedule. So here is how we do that. We start with the depreciation itself, and I'm going to, since I don't have anything for the prior year, I can save myself some stress and begin my computation from here so that I can drag forward. But if you have for the prior years, you want to start your computation from here, but once you know how to do for this, then not a problem. You can always the good thing is for past, the truth is you don't need to recompute, except if you just want to verify what the client has sent you in their historical statement. You can always go grab the historical. So again, maybe even if you have the past, you might not want to worry yourself about computing the depreciation for that past. You can use the historical record as it is. So I start from the building. Excel has a formula called straight line depreciation, SLN, and most companies use SLN. So all the companies are model for startups, existing companies, they all use the straight line depreciation. It's kind of a lot easier and straightforward, and your auditors won't even give you too much trouble too. It's a very straightforward one. So we'll stick to that in our modeling since it's the most commonly used method. So the concept is, if buildings are depreciated over 35 years, then that means that whatever is being bought right now, the cost will be spread over 35 years, right? So I'm going to say what is being bought right now. Because I intend to drag this forward, I'm going to do something. Okay, maybe let's not complicate things. Let me just pick it as it is, since that's the first thing I'm modeling for. So this, then comma the salvage value, which is this. This is always going to be here, so I'm going to make this absolute, right? Make that reference absolute. Then the number of years, which is 35 years. Now you will notice I'm picking this. You are seeing 35 years, but underneath is 35. I already showed you how to do the custom formatting. So that's what I had done there in the model input sheet. And just before I forget, I'm going to also make that absolute so that when I drag, no problem. This is what I mean. What is here is 35. What I had done is I had gone to format cells, custom formatting, and I've added this there, this custom formatting you're seeing here. Okay, you can repeat it if you don't know how to do that, right? Remember, we did that also in the scenario sheet. I'm going to knock off this dollar sign that is there. So here is where things become a bit more interesting. I'm going to drag this forward, but the truth is what we spend here in any particular year is going to keep being stretched for the next 35 years. So to make that easy for me, I'm going to say what we spend, this many number of years, it should keep dragging them forward for me. So that way I don't have to repeat this again and again and again too many times. And the advantage is if you plug in this is going to be dynamic. So if you plug in any values on the model input sheet for year 2020, maybe some of these building were not completely, this capex was not completely spent in 2020 and in 2019, and the company had to do some more spending in 2020. Once you input it in the model sheet, it comes in here and this formula picks it up. So this is what I'm going to do. Oh, I should have summed that up. So summation of all of that. Good. And again, okay, so I drag this. All right. And I'm going to, well, maybe since I know this is going to take a lot of, I'm going to modify that initial formula, right? I'm going to make this absolute. Okay, so that will reduce the amount of manual stuffs I will do. So that solves it for the building. And again, just to re-explain, whatever we spend in any particular year keeps getting spread for the next 35 years. So that's why I'm okay with taking all what we spend this period and I keep putting them in the value to be spread in the depreciation. I'm going to do likewise for the plant and machinery. So maybe I'll do it one more time so you get the whole concept. But then if I want to make my life easier, I'm going to make some changes to this. Okay, no problem. Make some changes to the absolute referencing. So I don't make everything absolute. I just make a couple of them absolute. So I'm going to do that in this next one. So again, SLN, the cost, in this case, this is the cost. Since I know I'm going to drag this, I can as well just do that right now. I need the column to be fixed, but I want the row to be dynamic in terms of when you should be relative anyway. So when I drag this down, that row number should also drag to office furniture. So I'm doing that, and I wrap this in summation so that we grab for me the cost. Then the salvage value, this again, I need the row to be able to move dynamically. So relative, I'm going to just fix the column part so the column doesn't drag to another column when I drag the formula. And then for the salvage, for the life, similar to in terms of me fixing the column part and leaving the row relative. So that should do this. I'm going to make it, so let's check if that is looking good. Okay, so that looks okay. And based on what I already explained, I'm going to drag all of these down so I don't keep duplicating efforts, right? In fact, then I just cross-check. Safer to just cross-check the last ones. So for those that are 5 years, right, things that are depreciated for 5 years, that means what we spend in 2019 should be depreciated Let's see. By the way, this is based on the assumption that what you spent in 2019 started from the beginning of the year. So meaning we are taking the depreciation completely in 2019. So let's say maybe, we are saying for sure that this company had to acquire all of this equipment in 2019, and I think we should make some meaningful changes to this, right? So I'm going to move this here and say, yes, the company can buy the building, do the plant and machinery. Maybe they need to buy the building as at 2019, set up the plant and machinery also starting from the beginning of that year. But for vehicles, for office furniture, for IT equipment, for patent and right, it should start from the beginning of the production year, since our production year is 2020. So I'm going to move those ones here. And notice as I move them there, it reflects here, right? So that's why we have used those formulas. So I'm going to knock them out from here and say it makes better sense that the company acquires those ones at the beginning of 2020 when production is going to start. But the building and the plant and machinery, that maybe takes a year for them to set up. And for now, for simplicity, we can. So I've seen people decide to take half of that depreciation in that first year, so they feel maybe, you are not yet completely set. Maybe it takes like 6 months to set up completely, and so we take 6 months depreciation in first year. That is also easy, just to divide the value by half year and then add up the other half at the end of the depreciation period. So that is not too difficult to do if you decide to do that. I'm going to keep things a bit simple and say, let's take the whole building and plant machinery, take a full year depreciation in 2019. But for the rest of the capex, we will assume they started it at the beginning of 2020, which makes sense. If you're going to resume production in 2020, why will you buy laptops? Why will you buy office furniture? Why will you buy the vehicles the salespeople are going to use, and all of that for a whole year before production? So let's see now, with that done, how we can verify that our DNA formulas are working correctly. So let's check this out. For something that is depreciated over 5 years, then that means whatever is spent here will go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's completely depreciated, right? So meaning that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's correct. If I come here, then the 5 years reset. So I reset the 5 years, and I have to do likewise for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I reset the 5 years. And for something that is 4 years, I think the resetting needs to start from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Reset the 4 years. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be 4. I reset that 4 years. And comma style formatting. So with that part done, I can now get the net book value. So the net book value, again, maybe I'll start from the future, right? So if you have historical values, you just plug as they are. Then, so this is how this works out. Okay, I can start from here, no problem too. It's just to say this is equal to the opening value. So opening value is last year's value plus the capex for that item minus the depreciation for that item. Okay, and this I drag all the way down and all the way to the right. So that gets us the net book value. Okay, I'm left with the amortization. I can just amortization is 5 years, so let me pick what I have here, since this is 5 years, so the duration matches, and I need to do some modification. This will be, and this will be this this will be this. This will be this. And this will be this. This will be this. Something looks funny there. Oh, okay. All right. I also make that formatting that way. And in doing this now, I just have to adjust the formula to pick correctly the row for the patent rights and other intangibles. Okay, so this is done. So just to take a look at it, and I'm going to make this bold. I'm going to also make this bold, make this bold, make this bold, make this bold. If you like, you can do the summation of the capex here. That can be really cool if you want to take it directly into the cash flow. But then again, I want to use a much more elaborate approach for the cash flow, so I'm not going to do that, but you can. So let's compute the total depreciation. Total depreciation is going to be the summation of all of this, and total amortization is just this, and I drag all of that to the right. I think we are done, huh? Yeah, so we are done. As usual, I'm going to knock off I'm going to save this. I'm going to knock off the grid lines, but then before I do that, I'm going to close this view, maximize this view, go to the depreciation schedule sheet, turn off the grid lines, save, and great, we are good with that. Thank you. See you in the next video on debt schedule.